So this is the second procedural animation update. Right now I've got this little spring mass system you can see here. It's just a little ribbon and it's very elastic because it's just a very simplistic model. So this is one of the steps towards getting procedural Norn animations. And one thing that I feel like I should address is why I haven't made any updates with actual gameplay in a long time. And pretty much since I changed from using sprites for the Norns to getting the actual 3D model for them. So why is this? Well, it's because it's really hard to animate in the needs animations. So in a game like here I have it so when I run back and forth, the animation is playing and it's taking some information from the animation and removing it from the animation and applying it to the character model. So in the animation, she walks 2 steps, then snaps back to the origin. And here I'm just taking that moving forward and moving it into the character model so that when I play the animation, she runs around. Now, same thing with the Norn. But the Norns don't have any animations. And one of the problems is getting the animations made because there's just a lot of things to animate. And one of the things you need is inverse kinematics, which is this thing her arm is doing right here. This inverse kinematics, it means that when you want to like reach for a carrot or do something like that, the game needs to know where is this object, how do you move the Norn to pick it up. And like I just couldn't figure out how to do that with normal animations, and I didn't want to actually do inverse kinematics because I thought it's just a layer of complexity I don't want to add. If I keep adding layers of complexity, I'll never get it out, but also it takes forever to animate, so it's a question of what takes longer, animating or programming this. And it turns out it's animating because this took like a week to get this far. And like, yeah, this isn't very good because her arm moves all weird and this thing is very weird and stretchy and gummy. And that's not great, but also it's not nothing. And I think that I was really overhyping the complexity of it and deterring myself from just sitting down and doing it, you know. But I need this for scarves because one of the things I wanted is Norns to have scarves and possibly top hats. So here's some other stuff I've been doing. I mentioned it in the comment before on the last video. But the last video wasn't much. It was just like showing that I'm not dead. So I have this little cartography table that'll map out any med rooms that are installed. And as you can see, I've got the ladder working. So she popped down there because the inverse kinematics affected her collision and it made her collide and that made her drop from the ladder. So that's what happened there. And I've got the elevator working again, which wasn't working for a while. I messed up some of the stuff in it. But now it's working again. And as you can see, the objects have little tooltips, say how to interact with them. Got this telescope going. And one of the things I'm noticing is how the telescope really breaks the illusion of the game, where it's revealed that the backdrop is completely broken now. It broke itself, but the illusion of the game is kind of broken by the telescope, where it's very clear that this is just a 2D texture. Can also change to a different meta room. And here, it's also very clear that, yeah, this is just a texture. And it's being warped. I'm considering trying to fix this with a tessellation shader, but that'll also hurt performance. And I've just got it like... I've got the performance somewhere I like it. It's around 600 FPS on my computer and like 48 FPS on like a cheap laptop. Well, not cheap, a new laptop, but... And it's also got a big screen, so it's like... I don't know. It'd probably be better on a If it had a smaller screen resolution, it would have a higher FPS, is what I'm saying. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Next up, I'm going to be doing the. So after this gummy thing, the next thing to do is a chain, which has like normal forces applied instead of just elastic forces. And then from a chain, you get an unconstrained ragdoll. And then from an unconstrained ragdoll, you need to make a constrained ragdoll. And hopefully I'll be able to apply the same constraints to these inverse kinematic system and get rid of this some of this weird rotation. It's more complex than it seems like it should be, because like if I zoom in and like it's not doing it now. But sometimes it'll just freak out because it needs the roll axis. Like you'll notice that her hand is spinning around the finger. Like here, spin, spin. And it shouldn't be doing that. It's just doing that because the computer doesn't know what to spin the hand should be at, so they're just guessing. And the constraints are pretty easy to apply once you have the spin, but if you don't have the spin, they're pretty complex. And they're just an issue. But if I can get a better way to get a spin, then I can get a lot of the constraints going. And like I'm not exactly sure how to make procedural animations. I just know that inverse kinematics and ragdolls are a sub step of getting there. So yeah, but mostly I haven't really been updating because it's just kind of behind the scenes stuff. But the reason that I haven't done actual gameplay demos isn't that anything in the gameplay isn't working. It's that I don't have animations, and like I said, the animation system is based on you play the walking animation that makes them walk. So if there's no walking animation, they can't walk. And yeah, I can't just have little balls like flying around, but it's just like it's hard to get a sense of anything. It makes the world feel very empty. It's not the best experience to test with that for a few hours. It's a lot more pleasant when you've actually got some motion on screen, some stuff that's interesting.